Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Steps Trading for Marketing. In this screencast you are going to learn all the steps that a staff member needs to take to be independent in the creation of content marketing material. Best practice to keep the content organized and to reduce the workflow to a minimum while maximizing the outcomes from the whole organization. Without further ado, let's go ahead. In content marketing, if you already checked the content archive screencasts, you already know that we have several categories. We are not going through all of them. You see them here. There is the activity review, which is about, again, what the guides go through during the activities. It's a report about that. You will, if you want further information on the other sections, you can check the screencasts related to that. Activity review is the most important one for nature guides because writing activity reviews has to be a routine. In the other sections, you might end up contributing to those according to the evolution of your role and attitude. For example, if you go very deep into some subject, you can think that is worthy to share it to go through a research on that, and you produce a long form, or you can start creating something for promote, to just promote an activity. In that case, you are going to archive that content into the folder number 4. If instead you feel like your personal experience is interesting and you feel like sharing something more personal, where you use the first person, for example, just writing, that is more of a nature journal and is a sort of safe space. You can share it in the community, and as a staff member you can get your content checked out, and if it's okay to share it, and you are okay with the changes that responsible of post has on that, well, we can go ahead and that can be published. For example, Knut himself used this last one a lot, even if it's disguised into long form, but this is not for here. We are going through a very quick overview of how the best practice for content marketing archive goes. So let's go through this. So first you input the name of the article you are working on in the Airtable content folder. You put the layout of how the article is going to be like inside the Word file as you create it. Keep updated the related C file folder, and you determine the internal office workflow for content creation. You submit your content for be checked or be proofread, and only after that it can be posted, which means for Europe mostly it's website upload. For China there is also the WeChat bundle. But what needs to always be done is to update and archive on Airtable. Now there is a dedicated screencasts to that, so I'm not going too much into that, just giving you an overview in Visual Passages. So here the Airtable for content. Here, as you can see, all the categories here are mirrored into the article folder on Operation 1, and as you can see, the name of the article folder is the name that we have here in the document name on Airtable. For activity reviews, it's important to have the date of when the article was written, because activities can be the same, but it's important to locate them for a good archive in terms of time. Now, this is an example, one of the latest articles that we have archived. This is how a good C-file folder looks like. Here we have article, in this case it's in two versions, because one is German, one is English, but above all the pictures inside, in this case there is also a video, are here in the media folder. And you see in the layout of the article we already have the position of the picture, because when you write an article it's very common that you want to support whatever you are talking about with a picture, and the person who is going to upload might not be you, so it needs to be possible to replicate and share your work. So by having everything organized into the media folder, afterwards it's going to be much faster and much easier to upload the content online. The content Airtable is designed with a Chinese-English setup, but even outside there, it's still possible to keep all the content well organized. The best practice is always to start writing and keep the status updated. So for example, you start writing the article, you don't finish it immediately, and you set it as a draft. Or you finish it and it needs to be translated. When you sign this, so the translator goes on the Airtable, goes to check it through the C-file link and translates this. Once it's done, it's done. And once it's done, we wait for the time when it has to be posted, which might not be immediate. Once it's posted, we put this up, and on Airtable we keep the date of when it is posted. So this is the best practice. Of course, this does not always happen. It can happen that first you work on it and you even post it and it's not archived yet on Airtable. That is not best practice, but it's still okay until you keep the things and the files and articles updated and are well archived. Prepare to be given for granted. Enjoy single people appreciation. Overcome selfishness and ego. When you invest energy for public posts, this is what you have to keep in mind. You want that the product that you put out is good, which means it has to be good looking, and it has to be the best thing you can do, even if you are not a professional writer. You want to take care of details of what you put up. This is why you need to put attention using for the best, even tools that maybe are not perfect themselves, but you are doing your best, and the effect that you can have on people receiving that is amazing. Even and for sure, if you make gross mistakes, they are going to be noticed, and people are going to think, oh, this is not professional, this is not good. If you do everything well, people start giving that for granted, and even if they don't tell you, they start perceiving you as a professional. Why do they say nothing? Because they expect to have a professional in front of them. Now, if everything in Green Steps says we are professionals, people are not going to question us anymore. We are not going to tell people are not going to tell you, congratulations, you are professional. They want us to be. They see we are not professional. They are going to tell us something about that, or maybe they will tell us some compliment because they did not expect us to be professional. So what we want is people not to notice anything special about what we do. This is our job. So now, see here. Of course, it's not easy to go for perfection. There is always some flaws. Important thing is not indulgent to them. Sometimes it's not possible to have enough production to overcome the limits we have, but we need to aim for that. So the things that here are marked in red are the things that are not exactly the way we want them. For example, for the pictures we use as a cover, we would like to keep them green or blue, always bright, but above all they need to be high definition. We always choose for high definition over low quality. And after that, we choose our shots over downloaded pictures, if we have. If we don't have, we go for something we download. Possibly we look for something which is in Creative Commons, so we don't do anything outside the law. Even if everybody does, we want to be ethical in that. One other thing, we need to respect the author. So if we are uploading something we did not write ourselves, we might decide to keep the full title as the author decided, because this is part of his creation. In this case, this goes over 3 lines instead of 2. So this is a thing that can be improved. We try to keep 2, but it can happen that it's not. We want the length of the abstract to be quite specific. Not always we manage to do that, but the important thing is that it looks nice. So what can be done to improve this? When we go for an activity, make sure to have alternatives for cover pictures. The visualization on our website changes according to window layout, so it's possible that when we change the visualization, when we have, for example, the adaptation to mobile resolution, the picture might cut some important part of the image. In this case, we don't have an alternative to this picture for this article as a cover. So what we do, we try to have alternatives where the main content is at the center of a picture. So no matter how the picture is cut, it's always going to have sense. It's always going to keep its sense. It needs to be in the middle horizontal part, the main focus of your shot. So now we go for the website library. Just a moment. For this part, it's important to have a demonstration on how it works. Now, the first thing to do, of course, is to log in and write admin. The thing is that here you need to log in the website. So here it is. Here is our website. I'm already logged in, but let's show you how it works. Let me log out. So this is our website. We go to the library, and of course we see it as it is. We can browse it here and there. Now what do? Now we go on the URL, go to the end, we delete the last everything until chrissteps.me/ we write admin. And this is how we log in. Now in my case, of course, I have everything recorded here. You put your username, you put your password, you log in, and if you have all permissions, then you can edit things. So this is how you can see that you can actually add parts to a website, you can actually edit parts of a website. This website works like this. Everything that you do is created live. So when it comes to upload content, make sure to have the C file folder. Make sure to have the C file folder and the Word file ready. So in this case, here I am, and I want to create a new content. To create a new content, I go here on the icon with the icon with the plus. And here is how the interface looks like. So how can you have everything ready? The best way to have everything ready is to actually have everything well organized. To have everything well organized, that's why I included in the training folder a template article for the activity reviews. So of course the content is just there as an example. In the case of Europe, maybe you don't need to have it bilingual. If yes, you put both languages in. So title, you put it here. The thumbnail of the article, this is the picture that you choose as cover. So you go for it by clicking here. You click upload file and you browse into the folder that you have prepared. So you have it here, you go for it, and you go into the media folder and you find the picture that you choose to have as a cover. Of course, you save it and you choose what is the category. Now, for example, we have several categories. You choose which one is the best fit for your content. In case you write in German, you select this Chrissteps STP. Now, another thing that you need to remember when you upload this kind of content is that for articles you have a limitation to for the size of pictures. In that case, to preserve picture quality, you can use services like tinypng.com. So you go for tinypng.com in case your picture is too big. For example, you shot a picture using your camera, you didn't edit it and use the original file, you just drop it here and it's reduced while keeping a good quality, and it's good for the web. Now, go back to the presentation. A good habit is to upload content yourself, because you understand all the problems that you can have while creating the layout of the article. So you start having more being more methodic when it comes to writing the content itself. So let's keep checking how this first part works out. So here you have the title, here you have the description of the article. This description has to be a sort of abstract. So it's the part that we are going to see right below the title in the library page. It's supposed to be around 500 characters, like not more than that. In this way we keep some consistency in the length we have in the other articles. Not all of them are the same, but of course here we aim for perfection. We know that perfection does not exist. Page title here is optimized for SEO, so page title we try to keep always the same, but again, to keep the title in 2 lines, this is another thing. It's good to have this limitation of 50 characters. I will say no more than 60. For SEO, instead, you can just cut the description you did here, but a good way to do that is to think it through. And put together all the keywords that can make your article worth it. So, for example, here we have a group of children visit Zhongshan Park, Shanghai, assisted by Green Steps nature guides. They became leader explorers. So we have children, Zhongshan Park, which is the location, Shanghai is another location. So Green Steps, we recall ourselves, nature guides, this is another definition of our service, little explorers. All this gives the idea: nature, explorer, guides, Zhongshan Park, Shanghai, Green Steps, children. So it's an activity for children, exploring nature with guides in Zhongshan Park, Shanghai. So if people look for a Green Steps activity about exploring nature with guides in Zhongshan Park, Shanghai, it's more likely that they're going to find it thanks to this optimization. And again, you can put together some keywords to make this even more effective. So this is the way to do it. You can check the document to have more insights on that. So let's go back to the presentation mode. Here there's not much to see because you can no, actually let's stay here and see how it looks like to edit an article. For example, this same article here, how it looks like. You see, if you click on the content, you are going to modify this part of writing. You don't want this. you cancel. You have to click on the button or to click with the second with the right button. Now, when you enter an article, you have these parts you cannot change. This part you can change, but you don't want to change. This is what I call a static element. You don't want to change this because this is going to be the same for all the articles, and if we change it, we need to go back to the backup of the website. Here you write the author again. If you have some rights, you might be able to change this. You don't want to change this. This is part of the structure of a website. You want to change this, the name of the author, so you keep it recorded. Short summary, same. You cannot change this. This comes from the work we just did a few minutes ago. And here you start composing your article. Here, this is a decoration, and this design element, parts of static elements of a website. Now, go back to the presentation to see other parts of it. Website library, this is what I just told you, the static elements. This is the parts that you can see. So here you add an article, here how you see the article, so the picture, the title, the category, and the description. Here you upload the picture, we put the title, we put the category, and all the other parts that we talked about already. I showed you how to set up the document in a mirror, in a way that it mirrors the needs of a website. So look at the attachment. Here is a quick overview. So the title has to be between 25 and 20 characters to stay on 2 lines. The cover picture has to be high quality. Avoid graphic design, avoid repetitions, check out what people did before you. You don't put the same picture as the other did. Try to stay in the color mood. When it comes to SEO, description has to be between 400 and 500 characters. Ideally, you can cut in the 120 characters, as I told you, to optimize the content. And then you keep in mind to also write down some keywords for that. So you have everything ready to upload your content. Now, one thing that I have not told you and that needs to be reminded is that if you go back to the library page, so you go back to the library page, let's say that you want to create a new content. When you are in this visualization and you create an article, this is the title, then what happens is that if you save, this becomes the generated URL. If for any reason you make a mistake here and you want to change the title, that is going not to be affected. So if you make a typo in the title, or if you write something that is actually wrong, you will never be able to change it. So be very careful before clicking on save here. Okay. Now back to the presentation. One other thing that you need to keep in mind for how to keep the media here, here actually we don't have a good practice in overall, because all these pictures except of this do not describe at all, and this do not describe at all what is this about. This one is called cover pic, and this is a name that we might use for any of the content out there. Now, the website has this policy, this function, which asks you to overwrite a picture if it has the same name. We don't want this, of course. So it's very important to do not overwrite pictures, because that might affect previous content. Please take the time to rename the pictures that you put in your media folder. One way to do this is to rename them along the name of the title of the content. Now, keep in mind that an activity review can take several different forms depending on the personality and attitude of the guide, or in general of the writer. The one that we used as an example before, we can go back to that. Sorry. Yeah. You can check this out, or just open the this. You can check this out. I did not share this with you because it's the best possible activity review. This is just one content like the other. Thing that you can see is that you must never forget that the activity reviews has both an internal and an external purpose. Never let that one part overcomes the other part. When I say internal purpose, I mean that there is to share, that is to be shared with the rest of the team. You share your experience, and it's also a moment of studying for the guide. The guide applies the outcome of the studies. So when you study something and you put that into practice, that is the moment when you actually start learning. And when you write down again what you have learned, that is how you remind things. This is the real concept of science and study. So writing down what you did is the moment where all things fall into place, and you actually start creating knowledge around your role as a guide. So you study something about insects or plants in the books, and you end up having the chance to explain to the kids that during the activity. Then you write that down, and you will never forget it again. This is the best way to make our work more and more professional. But you still have to write for the people. If you write with only yourself or your teammates in your mind, you might end up not caring too much of a form. It's also likely that you give a concept for granted, because it's something that your teammates handle every day, just like you do. So need to find a balance between this and that. Instead, people out there maybe don't know what is the place that you write about, because actually we want people to become more aware about nature. So we actually have to give for granted the opposite, that people don't know what are we talking about. We don't know about the places, they don't know about the animals, or if they know, they don't know enough. So it is also another reason why it's always good to have a third party, so which means another person, look and review the thing that you have written. empathy and personal touch. When you write your article, you can feel free to choose the best angle. You are totally free to do whatever you like, and it's a part of writing that makes everything original and interactive. It's not just informative, it has to become appealing, which also gives it the value as a promotional content. This becomes quite true when after some months maybe you end up having always the same activity over and over, maybe even in the same place, and you might feel like there is nothing else to talk about. After you have talked enough about the concept of the activity and the steps, and the parts of the activity, you can focus more on some specific detail and of the activity and its pedagogical value. So you can talk more about the things you studied to run that activity, or something specific that happened during the specific activity, and focus a bit more on the experience, even eventually on your feeling. But always has to come back to, of course, what we are talking about. It's still an activity review. So it's more challenging, but it's also full of opportunities. Try to write something that is a view that only you can have. Of course, we are starting now, so this is a scenario for something that is yet to come, but it's important for you to feel like there is an horizon ahead. If for any reason you don't feel inspired, let's keep in mind that we need to have a consistent production. So the minimum you can do is to put together the essential and provide information about the location, the activity, and its main moments. So the text actually becomes just a sort of an excuse to upload good pictures of the activity, and this is itself a crucial part because people like to have feedbacks about what they joined, and it is actually a good multiplicator in a more social media related way. So if we are timely enough to post something, people joining the activity like to rewatch the videos or the pictures about what they had done, and they appreciate it like a sort of part of the service. And if they end up sharing that, this is a good way to expose. It's a good exposure for us. So it's free advertising, and that's why putting attention into writing is also important, because the more we can grab attention of a reader, the more we have chances to increase the business, basically, and our impact. In terms of visual production, don't make this affect the fact that you are leading an activity, especially if you have another team member with you. Don't get too much distracted while you are leading the activity. Keep a little bit of your mind on the fact that you need some good pictures of what's happening. If you have another person with you who can take care of that, please let that person do it. If there is nobody with you, of course you cannot stop and take pictures, but if there is, for example, parents joining the activity, they are very likely to do that, so maybe it's good practice to keep collecting that material, and keep in mind that even if you don't have the chance to shoot a good picture, good pictures all along your activity, it's very important to have at least one good one, because we need a fresh cover for the single activity. We cannot recycle things from all activities. We need at least one good picture, and maybe you can have a group picture once, and afterwards outside the activity itself you can go for something more to correlate, to enrich your production. So this is about the article writing. Other than this, you need to be careful on some little flaws that the editor might have. Let's go and check them once again, just to explain. For example, this is the latest article we have. How we create an article. We have here several tools. You will not need all of them. You are welcome to explore them, but the most important thing is to remember that you want an headline, you want a paragraph, and you want a uncropped image. Now, why uncropped? Because when you change visualization here, pictures get distorted. So if it's uncropped, the picture is always keeping its size. If it's uncropped, it's going to be modified, then we don't want this. So these are the three most important tools. You can check out the other ones. Remember that if you build an article and you create one of these elements, you are going to have a lorem ipsum here. Wherever you do this on a website, you cannot leave the content empty. I cannot leave this empty. You cannot leave this empty. You cannot delete all this. If you do and save, for example, it's not allowing you to say unit. If you cancel, you are always keeping a lorem ipsum. Another thing, if I select this word and I want to have it bold, it works. If I select everything with Ctrl A and I want to change things, it not always works. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You see, so one thing you can do is just give it a space maybe, and then you select everything and it works. So sometimes if you need to format a full paragraph, you might need to use these things. There is a little bug that this editor has. Always save after you do something, otherwise if you click outside, the window closes and you have to redo your job. Remember that whatever you do on this website is exactly what is already happening on this website. So this is not a draft, this is the actual article. So if, like in this case, you are just fooling around or you're just trying things, you delete it, because if in this moment there is someone online, he can see the last edit you saved. And when it comes to creating elements, the elements are immediately created. So another thing that can be useful, other than the headline and the paragraph, is the embedding. It's important, especially, but not only for videos. I will show you how it works with videos. It actually can be applied to anything, even to social media posts, which can be interesting feature sometimes for websites. But let's see how it works for videos, which is most likely for you to use it eventually. So here we are. Maybe we go for green. Sorry. We go for our channel. We go on the latest video. We share. We go for share. We select embed, and we copy. We copy all this code. We copy it. Control C. We go back to here. We create this element, which is called embed iframe. We go to select this. We put the code inside. We select it. We click again on the embed icon, and you see that it already worked. We save it, and the player is here. Now, of course, we also delete it. Back to the presentation. This is exactly all the passages, so you can check again the presentation later to see how it is. Now this is another important thing. Why it is important to have everything prepared in the layout of a Word file? Because adding new elements on an existing article is quite annoying. If any of the things that I just showed you, I wanted to move it around, so let's create another one. So let's call this new paragraph, for example, new paragraph. But this is true for any kind of content, any kind of a block that we add here as same functioning. We want to move it around, we can move it only one piece at a time. So it's up, forward is up, and of course backward is down. So is this annoying to move something? So it's always for the best if you are sure that the article you are uploading is already well done. It doesn't need actually any change, any edit. It's a really time-consuming and annoying operation to move things around. So keep this in mind when you create a new article. Make sure the layout is good since the Word file. Now, another annoying thing is that you actually need to upload your article twice. Why? Because my website is designed to be mirrored in Chinese. This means that while you work on a content in English, an empty structure is created at the same time. Only the pictures stay in their place. So this leads us to two practices. Of course, when we have a bilingual English-Chinese element, we create the English article, and afterwards we switch to Chinese and we complete the paragraphs with the Chinese content. But this also means that, for example, we cannot have an infographics in two languages, because if we upload that picture in with English writing, we switch to Chinese and we need to keep that specific picture. We cannot change it. Or sometimes it can happen that for some reason we have an article that we don't want to have translated in Chinese, or maybe we cannot have it translated in Chinese. In that case, we still need to upload something in the Chinese part, otherwise it's going to look like a lorem ipsum. And to avoid that it's really bad looking, we have to re-upload the exact same content. This is actually what is going to happen, especially if we work with Europe, because eventually we are going to work directly in English or even in German. So for sure we are not going to have a Chinese version. Now let me show you what happens. Let's go back to library. Let's do this very quickly. And we create a new article, which is really just to show you the procedure. Call it new article. This is description. We go into environment part. We don't upload everything, and we just go for it. You see, you need to do that. Don't forget, separate by commas. Save it. Now we have a new article in the library. We go into inside the new article. We go inside the new article, and this is the author. We leave receipts for now, of course, and we put headline, and we call it just headline. This paragraph, and we can put an image, and we upload a picture just to show you that is not going to change. Just random picture, just for the purpose of showing you how it works. You see, I saved before it had actually uploaded the picture. This is not good, so always be patient. You will see the picture uploading, and yes, you will see also the preview. Then you can save. Then we also add another element just for the purpose to be very clear. Call it actual paragraph and yada. Now what happens? This is already saved online actually, so we need to be quick and put it offline. But what happens here if we switch language to Chinese? New article is going to be not there, not there, not there, not there, but the picture is. We go to the library in Chinese and we see no article, no description, nothing. So what we have to do for an actual article is, of course, now we are going to delete this, but for an actual article we are going to put here either the Chinese translation or the exact same content that we have in the English version. So, for example, we work on another browser, we go to library, we go to a library. Here I'm on the English version, so I go here. Most immediate thing I can do, just to make sure that I am okay with the layout. Here I put the English, here I put the Chinese. I go here, I copy, I go here, I paste, I save, I go ahead. Paragraph, copy, paste, check, go ahead. And so on. You see? That's it. Now, of course, I don't want to keep this here, so I go back to library, close here, I go back to the library and I just delete this. Also this part needs to be changed. So if we want to completely update, you also have to go this from the Chinese side and update the article title and whatever detail is here. Now, of course, we cancel. Actually, we can also go for this here, and we just want to delete this. Sure. So back to the presentation. Now, one thing that you want to always do, always double check from a second browser how it looks like when you switch language. This is basically what I did to make sure that everything was okay. German original content. What is very possible from the European side is that you need to create something for your audience, so your approach is German first. So what you have to do is to select the GreenSteps STP category in the when you upload the content, and if you think that it is worthy to share, at the end of the article you can just re-upload all the content itself, but so every headline, every paragraph, every picture, and you can upload it in English. This is at the moment the only possibility we have, but no matter what you do, you always have to mirror it in the Chinese part, otherwise we are going to have lorem ipsum everywhere. The whole training you received until now does not change. Just keep in mind that the structure and the procedure is the same. GreenSteps is just a category on the website library, but as long as you keep up with your work, you are going to have people writing long forms, people writing activity reviews, and people writing just nature journals, for example, and eventually some promotional content. As the more STP grows, the more you are going to have the same kind of content. So the thing that you have to keep in mind is that this structure is the same. So now I have it here, but you will find it exactly the same on C file. These are the categories of the articles. When you write something in English, nothing changes. If you write something exclusively in German, And for STP, you go here and you see the same structure, because you can have an activity review, you can have a long form, you can have whatever. You go here, and if you have a nature journal, you upload the nature journal from here. The structure is the same, and in fact, last thing, I keep here in, this is the first article uploaded with this category. You go here, and on top I keep the date and the category. This is a nature journal. Okay. So let's go to another part of the job. Using Canva and using our visual identity. So here is how we create designs. These are the colors, and this is their proportion. So you can see there is 60%. We try to use white. 30% we use green. 1% we use orange. White is most dominant, as you can see from this presentation. Green is our signature color and help keep things bright. And orange, we use it rarely, but we use it to put an accent on things. It's not very readable if you use it too much, but it gets noticed. So, of course, this is something that has evolved through 1 year of designs here, working here in Shanghai. The purpose is to have bilingual content, which might not be the same in Europe, where you're working now. So, when you access Canva, you are invited to, when you are onboarded, you are invited to be part of the Green Steps team. In the Green Steps team, you find current flyers. In current flyers, you find most of our production. Now you can see that here we have the latest iteration, which I suggest to use as a reference for creating flyers. All information you can see is in a squared boxes, and we try to keep all the information, of course, bilingual. Now, for example, in your case, since you don't have to be bilingual, maybe you have more space, so you decide if you want to fill in more content, or if you want to, which I suggest, leave more space for the for pictures, so that the picture on the background can breathe more. One thing that I want to you to notice is that this is the latest iteration, as I said, and we use the green, which is our signature color for the events. Also, because even if I said that white is very important for our documents creation, but it can get easily unnoticed, especially if you feature it into some article or something, so it gets blended with the white background very easily, so it's not very efficient in that sense for advertising. But we still use our second and third color for something. In this case, we use it for sponsored events. We don't have many, but when we have, this helps us to give more relevance to partner or a sponsor logo. And here, for other kind of activities like camping, which is a special activity if compared with our regular activities on weekends, we use the yellow because helps us to have a more the idea of something more special. Using Canva and basic visual identity rules, flyers design. You can see the little features here. We use round squared corners, which use high definition and proprietary pictures. After several events, you will understand that it's not so easy to find the picture exactly as you want it. You want smiling children in nature, you think you have a lot because you have a lot of activities, and instead you find out the children are not always smiling, especially when we are focused on something, and so, or maybe the picture you want is not very good for a fit for a background. There is so many things you have to keep in mind. Just try to do your best with what you have, and even consider the possibility to use something that is not yours if the quality is better. Remind that this is about communicating, and it's also about selling. Highlight the benefits and don't forget the basics. This is where you try to sell your content. This is where you put together the information why people should be interested in what you do. This gives me the idea of what I have, because maybe the name is not giving me idea of what the activity is about. So I need an abstract, and I will have it here. Here I need to know where, when is going to be. Here I need to know when is going to be. This is the time, this is the place, this is the price, and of course we can, in China it's very common to use QR codes. I honestly don't know in Europe at the moment if it's so common. If it's not common, just don't use it. Just always remember that the user experience has to be important. If I have this and it's completely useless for me, just don't use it. Put instead a reference link or something that it's more immediate for the people to understand. Or if you think that is useful but not everybody uses it, you need to add the website in written types here somewhere, possibly respecting the structure. And so the things to do is to open Canva. You go for Greenspan Tabs Theme, you go for current flyers, and you just click on the three dots, you make a copy, and when you have it, you write whatever EU flyer, and this is where you can start working. So this organization of a flyer evolved, improved over 1 year of events, and I myself learned a lot about Canva because I was not used to this specific tool. You need to remember that even if it's very nice for sharing, it's also kind of limiting. You cannot think you can do anything here. So here, for the thing that you have is that you can upload content. This is all the media that you upload from your computer. These are pictures that you can eventually use, and there is, of course, this is the most important part that you have for creating. You have stickers like with shapes. For example, here you see I have used this and I adapted it to our colors to make this thing on discount, and I used one of these arrows to put this here. This is just an example. Or for example, I used this to create and I used actually a couple of these. I round one normal and one I flipped it. So you see, you have this kind of very basic tools to create something a bit more nice. Try to keep it simple. Do not overdo things, but be aware of what you do. The most important things here are the blocks. The blocks, you find them here in shapes. In Canva, I always use for green steps the rounded square. So actually this one. So I take this element, I choose the color here. Of course I have this already here. If you don't have it, you just use the codes that I gave you before. Another thing that is very nice with Canva is, and it helps you when it comes to create something new, is when you choose the color, you can see photo colors. This means that any media that you uploaded into the project, it gives you a range of colors that you can use, so you can do something that is balanced with all the other elements that you have already used. So never forget that Canva is useful for quick jobs in case you are not confident with professional softwares, but it's not a professional software. You can create new elements and you can have them sized already for a social media post, but you cannot, for example, resize the creation that you are using. So another way for you to use Canva is that you can go here, you create design, and for example you want one of your picture, you want it sized for an Instagram post, and you have it here, or you want it optimized for Twitter, and you have it here. And you have all this kind of stuff already like this. So you can take a picture from your uploads and you can have it like immediately like that. You can resize to that, or you can set it as background so it's already like this. You double click and you move it. And you also have the guides here to follow the rule of thirds, so you can decide that you want here the insect in the focus point following the rule of third. Remember what I'm talking about, because I will repeat sometimes. This is the easiest rule that you can use when you work with photography. So here is closer to the focus point, and this is an easy way to make sure that your picture is in a good fit. And of course you have to learn by using all the little things that you can do. You can just, for example, select a picture and adjust it so you can improve its appearance according to your needs. Maybe you want it a bit desaturated, or you want it a bit more green for some reason. You can want blur, because if it's blurry it's easier to add some text on it. There's a lot of little things that you can do if you play it around, but probably you don't need so much. It's important though that you know what your possibilities are. This is what I was talking about. This is something that I put it here to a slide, so you can eventually take from here and use it. QR design, this is the last thing. If you use it, remember that you can create new QR from this website, www.qrcode monkey.com. Any service works, but we use this one, so if you also use this one, we can keep the design consistent. Make sure that URL is not too long, otherwise the longer the link, the smaller the frames, and it becomes harder to scan. Black and white are usually good enough to when you set the colors of the QR. You can add logo using the green steps green logo, and tick the option to remove background, and in the end customize design using this kind of dots and this kind of iframe and eyeball. When you once the QR is generated, you double check using your phone. You upload the QR picture on your phone and you scan it from the phone itself. So if after your check it's okay, then you know that it's working. Very quick overview here as well about the social media. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, and we have LinkedIn. Now, Canva allows you to create picture size perfectly for each platform. Choose your picture and use a caption as short as you can, or an abstract for your link content. On LinkedIn, we mainly address professionals, so it's a good idea to give a stronger focus on our overarching mission and maybe on the pedagogy elements of the activity we talk about. On Facebook, we need to be careful with the algorithm. So we don't want to just post a link. We want to post some media element like a picture or like a video, and then use the first comment to add the link. And on Instagram instead, we just make sure that we post a nice caption and possibly the right hashtags, and we make a story. We share a story to let our followers know that we posted a new content. In the content description, we leave we say that the link is the bio. The link in bio for the Green Steps account is the library. Link, so people can check the latest article from there. And Twitter, finally, it's something where we don't have much followers actually, but it leaves several possibilities. So now to go for a visual overview, as you can see in Green Steps, I upload content a little differently with other platforms sometimes. For here, I put the link together with a caption, which is more about our mission. We are the necessity to commit to preserve nature, and there is a direct link. For example, in Facebook, the same content is not posted the same way. You see here the latest content we have a caption, and in the first comment there is the link. So in this way we can get more people to see it. You can see here that shows a different picture from LinkedIn to Facebook. I try to give here something that is more appealing for the content itself of what the article was. In Twitter, we have a possibility to spread a little more of the text around. Even if we have a limitation, you can create a thread. So you put a picture in the first content and link in another one, but we can have even longer threads. So it's really like you have a little abstract or an index of the article, if you like, which makes the content more interesting if you happen to watch it, so to see it. So here you start from the first post and you go use other picture from the post to mention other paragraphs. So here I have a chance to put both the link to the full article and the link to the direct link to the event that I wanted to promote. And finally, Instagram, as I told you, here is the post. It says link in bio. We always use this. You also can use gallery. In this case, we talk about several women, so it makes sense to have a gallery of all pictures. And yeah, and I think that we don't have the story anymore, but this is how the bio looks like. So from the bio you can go to the library. So that was it. It was very long. It was a very long presentation, I'm aware, but now you are able to create a new content, archive it, and create a design for it, and finally to even share it properly online. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in later.